Hello everyone, welcome back to another dev diary for Clustercraft, Strong Compute's 3D Cluster Manager. Now we have a pretty exciting feature to show you today, something that's probably going to help with a lot of your data center visualizations and make it a lot easier to bring things to life in this interface without having to go through all of the UIs and menus and stuff. In addition to what we had before, which was just this sort of REST console where you could type in REST commands manually. If I go regions create, I could specify a name, I could put a name, and you could like enter that in and it would create a region. You can now do that through a new interface that lets you do it through JavaScript, which is really, really cool. So we have some command, this is just a JavaScript terminal. So if I went to go console.log some stuff, some numbers, you run the code, it's going to print it out into the console. But we've added some functions in here you can use to execute REST commands. So to use the example we just used, we could say I want to do a command which is post/region/create, and then I'm going to pass some data in as JavaScript objects. So name, I'm going to call my name JS region. It's the only parameter that regions really accept. If you run the code, it's going to go straight in. And the reason this is going to be really, really helpful is because it will allow you to do more than just one thing at a time when creating scenes like this. Like okay, I'm going to create a region. Now I have to go find the region's ID. If I want to go make a cluster, I have to supply the region's ID and all that. You can instead just go save the data. If we were to print this, it will show you what data it returns. It returns like an object that has all the data you need, including the region ID. So all we really need to do is, I'll just keep that clear, is save that in an object like that, typical JavaScript stuff, and then we can go to create a clusters create, where the region ID is region.id, and then you supply everything else, your name, new cluster, node count 32, and that's going to create the cluster straight in the region that we just made because it is using region.id. And that is really, really cool because it lets you create a bunch of basically templates for all of the different, like if you have a bunch of data centers you want to visualize, or you want to really quickly experiment with different sizes without having to go take everything down and bring it back up, you can very easily do that. We've got another function you can add, which is just clear, which clears everything first. So, okay, cool. Now that we've got this code, we can really, really quickly iterate. We can go, okay, what's it going to look like with 2,000 nodes? We can just type 2,000 in and it's going to create 2,000 nodes for us. So yeah, writing JavaScript to create infrastructure in your scene. And you can get to the point where I've got this sort of template set up here. You can add spaces and jobs and everything, and it will just straight up create the entire scene for you. So we've got some jobs here that if we speed up time, are going to jump straight onto the infra, and it works like a charm. So yeah, that's the big new feature we've been working on.
That's right. And it's going to make it really easy to just create things at scale. So currently we're working on possibly writing up some documentation for this JavaScript system that we've created. It's going to make it very quick and easy to create a massive amount of infrastructure in your sandbox very, very quickly.
Now, another thing we're working on is making it easier to showcase this kind of data center visualization off to people without having to manually move the camera around. So we're working on a feature that will just automatically pan the camera over sort of the entire scene that you've got in a really sort of cute cinematic way. And it will sort of change camera angles every 10 seconds or so. We're working on getting all of the shadow mapping updated to support these kind of angles. But yeah, once you start getting massive data centers visualized like this is the way that you'll be able to show it to people and go, look at the scale of our stuff.
A really easy way to just show off what you've got to people in a virtual sense, not just a video of real world hardware, but here is the hardware as visualized by Clustercraft.
Yeah, and we're also working on a way to make it much more efficient to render massive amounts of infrastructure. Isn't that right?
That's right. I've been spending the past week on a side experiment working on low level of detail meshes and versions of the system. So we'll be able to display all of the data using the same footprint as shown on screen, but with a lower level of detail, so it'll run more performantly, especially at large infrastructure levels. So we're working on that at the moment. It will be a feature added in the future, but it's the experiment that we've worked with has worked really well, so we're very excited to bring that forward into the main system.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the stuff at the back that's all really, really tiny to use the same amount of processing power as the stuff at the front. So we're going to group them into sort of blocks of powers of 2 type of thing, where these will, instead of being like, you can see every individual row and it will kind of dither and look really weird at a distance, they're going to be grouped into blocks. That's what we mean by level of detail. So look forward to all of that. These features will be in your hands very soon, and you'll be able to muck around with this new JavaScript console.
Yeah, we're very excited to let people explore it and provide feedback, and we're very excited for the future features that we're implementing at the moment.
Sweet. See you guys later.
See ya.